Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Hello, hello. Let me open the SIG meeting notes. New window. Okay, awesome, awesome. October 15th is the day. And here. All right. Cool. All right. Agenda. Primary action item. It's going to be code generation. Or maybe just generation and generation, specifically tools. All right, so let me share my screen real quick. And hi, Andrea, how are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, good. Thanks. And you?
Doing all right, doing all right. Let's see.
Sorry, I was in another meeting. I was
Oh yeah, yeah, I
running.
was too. I was like a minute late, so yeah, I totally get it. Um, okay, let me see here. Trying to like make sure I can share my screen without getting in trouble. Um, all right, so that should do it. Okay, cool. All right. So here are these. All right. And then we had the GitHub issue, right? Let me see. Let me open Slack. Slack here, this issue. Let's open that as well.
No,
Um,
it's not a GitHub issue. I missed that you already created one. So it just I opened just
ah,
on discussion. I will copy. I could move it. I can move it.
gotcha. All right, cool. Damn, I like all the diagrams and everything. This is good job. This is really nice, actually. Really like this. Cool. All right, so I want to kind of go over this. All right, so I noticed you listed four languages. Do I thought we had .NET support? Do we not? Maybe we don't.
Not
Oh,
as
okay,
far as
okay,
I know. But
okay.
unless you implemented secretly,
No,
then
no, I did
didn't tell
not.
us. No, there was a proposal to add .NET, and I think we have the repo there, but that's not been implemented.
Oh, that's probably what I saw. I just saw the repo and assumed it was there. Okay, gotcha. Okay, that makes
It's
sense.
an Yeah, it's an empty shell as far as I know.
Okay, awesome. So I think the most important bit here is we need to do a deep dive on the potential tools that can do right now. We should just focus on code generation. David did make a really good comment yesterday about documentation as well, like generating that as well. Luckily, that's easy for Go. It's also easy for Java. I don't know about Rust. So with whatever tooling we choose, we want to make sure that it can also satisfy some good doc generation for the tools that might not have it built in, like Go, for example. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to call that out. But let me look here. All right, so this is a flow.
Yesterday, my comments was not only about API documentation, but also the what today we have as a Markdown documentation that is unwritten.
Gotcha.
It's why in these two diagrams I try into the actuals one to 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 show how it works today. I guess maybe I make
Yes.
mistakes. So and in the second diagram I say from the schema we could generate the markdown. So it the markdown could be also generated like any other language. So it means that we no longer have to duplicate example, description between Markdown and the schema. It's one of
Right.
the idea.
Yeah, no, I really like this. I like I think yeah, this documentation like highlights that perfectly. Um and then let me see here because we have and then Java. Okay, schema documentation markdown. Interesting. Okay. So instead we have the schema, which is, yes, this is much better. But one thing that we should call out too is that the flow is that each one of these SDKs is its own generator too, which we can actually just say word wise, but I don't know if this diagram kind of captures that. Because it just kind of assumes that like the generation is just kind of like, done, from the schema, right? Like in the language here. But if we have one generator that generates all the languages, then that makes this flow even simpler, right? So yeah, but I haven't read through it, so I really don't know. But let me see here. Schema language. Oh, I like this. Okay, so this is what you think the requirement should be. Okay.
Yes, it's also something to change and to evolve. So feel free to comment or to change.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, I definitely like this. Okay, let's kind of go over them. So you say expressive for all constraint and rules. Because yeah, as we learned, the main reason we're having this discussion, right, is because there are limitations with JSON schema, or at least how we use it for our SDKs, right? So it might not be the best use case for us, is kind of like why we're here. So we decided, or we're kind of exploring the idea of potentially looking into other tooling that is more expressive. So that's what this point is. So okay, so allow for documentation, allow examples. I like these two separate. Yeah, I think that's really good. Type strings. Nice. I like this pattern as well. Range. What do you mean by range? Like, yeah, what do you mean by that?
It's in our case, I'm not sure we have it. It's a range of value. When you say it's an integer between 0 and
Yes.
10,
So
this kind.
I would say this is under validation, which I don't think is in this list of things. We should add, validation's right here. That I would say is considered under validation. So we'd say validate to make sure it's between this range and that range. But I get what you're saying, but we could probably remove that and just incorporate that in validation.
It really depends, because just above we have a pattern. It's why I made typed string in terms of validation. The fact to match one pattern or that the string expressed at that time could be seen as part of the type or as part of the validation. It really depends of the programming language, in fact.
Kind of. When I read type string, so let me know if this makes sense for you. I think that type string is when it's code generated, it's a different type that aliases to a string in some way. Like for instance, time can just be a string formatted, time stamp, right? Or you can actually make it a time object, whether that be in Java, Go, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's a little bit different in terms of validation. Of course, like when you do the code generation, it's this time object, but when you try to read a request, it would fail if it's the wrong format. So like that, that's already kind of like built in. So I can kind of see where the line is blurry, but I think this makes sense here. I think the range though is specific to only validation. It's not really changing the type. It's not really well, I guess
As I
it's under
say, it depends of some programming language. In some programming language, we can express the range as part of the type itself, not as part of invariant or post validation. Some language have this kind of feature. So
like annotations. Is that what you mean?
Not only annotation, or sometimes it's they use enums, but you can say it's a specific value between 1 or tens. And if you try to set another value, you have a compile time error, I could say.
Right. Oh, okay. I see. So that's where the difference is. It's not runtime, it's compile time.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. All right. I see your point. We might need to expand on that because I had no idea that was a pattern in, I'm guessing that's in Rust. But I've never used it or seen it. So maybe we can expand on that a little bit. So enumeration, that makes perfect sense. We definitely have run into issues with this, because JSON schema unfortunately has a billion ways to enumerate and no standard way of enumeration, right? So especially with like stringed enums, right? So I definitely think that this is something that we should look into heavily. And then tagged, yeah, this is a big one that's missed a lot is tagged unions. So yeah, I think JSON schema actually does this, but I don't know if the code generator obviously is handwritten, so we would have to write the tagged
Uh,
unions ourselves. So
uh, when I reread the spec, JSON schema itself doesn't have tagged union in reality, but all variation, OpenAPI, Async API, provide a discriminator that allow to do this tag and tagged union or polymorphism. But it's not part of the JSON schema. It was proposed, but it was not included.
oh, really? Okay. I thought it wasn't. Okay. Good to know. I was unaware. Okay. So yeah, but 100% tag union is a necessity. I mean, all these are necessities, but like I want to strongly emphasize that because a lot of the times when people are looking at tooling, tag unions actually gets missed, which is a very powerful paradigm, especially for code generation. It makes it a lot more powerful. Okay, awesome, awesome. And then we're going into generators, which we want to just do the major languages, make sense. Decoder, encoder, makes sense. Validation, sample generation, code completion. Yeah, and then yeah, if we can also do yeah, even doc generation would be fantastic. But I guess that could be under here. But yeah. So when you say nice, is this like a nice to have or is this like a
Yes,
requirement? Okay,
nice
gotcha,
to have.
gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I definitely think these are nice to haves. Especially yeah, sample generation would be huge. Um, and then CLI to work on the wire format, compatibility check, validation schema and data against schema. Okay, nice. CLI to work. So when you say CLI to work, do you mean the code generator CLI or what do you mean by CLI here?
It could be, I think it could be one tool provided by the schema community or etc., but something that we could use during the mainly my idea is something that we could use for the CI itself of the specification. For example, to generate the sample or to when we have a message to check that he match the schema if we have an event.
Gotcha.
So it could be some kind of reference implementation. I'm not sure on that.
Okay, yeah, we can work out the details, but yeah, I kind of get what you're saying here. Okay, interesting. And then yeah, actually
I
a
mentioned
formatter.
com
Interesting.
compatibility check. It's because on some, for example, on some message broker like Kafka, Redpanda, etc., you could have a schema registry, and inside this schema registry, sorry, it could check that when you receive a new schema, if the schema is backward compatible with the previous version. So they can
Okay.
raise alerts, it depends of the language, and say, hey, it's not backward compatible. Are you okay to push this new schema or not, etc. So it's one of the ID. It's also why maybe some of more features should be nice because we could not have everything. But
Everything. Yeah.
the idea here is mostly to have maybe a list of some features that could help us to compare to compare. At the end, I say we could start to create some maybe a comparison matrix.
Yeah.
Where we could check, but the matrix could not be done in Markdown. It's not very friendly to do debug.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think compatibility can definitely be a nice. It can come later, is what I'm saying. But definitely is something we should have. But I think it can definitely doesn't need to be like implemented this time around. And then versioning, this is also huge. Like being able to support deprecated field or a lot of flag deprecated fields, like that's going to be something that that has always been an issue. we at Amazon actually had to rely on custom tagging for our internal code generator. So yeah, this is going to be huge if which I know Open API can do this. So I'm not worried about Open API, but we'll have to look at the other ones. And then this is kind of the same thing with the compatibility check. So that makes sense. Okay, cool. And yeah, nice. Okay, so you listed all the things. Okay, Pickle. So Pickle's an Apple, internal Apple, well, not internal anymore. It's open source. It's by Apple.
Yeah,
We use it pretty
yes.
extensively. So, and it can do a lot of generation. So
Right.
yeah, that could be pretty huge,
Yeah.
actually.
We have mainly three group of schema, I could say. They have to
Mhm,
be clear. We have some that was created for communication,
mhm,
the first group. After we have maybe a group made data, for data, big data, etc., for storage of data.
mhm.
So mostly flat, but some of them allow to have structured fields. And the last group is more focused on configuration, I could say. So
Right,
it's
right.
Q long, so they are able to read and validate. So they are very more focused on validation and to create all the stuff to validate, but maybe not to serialize data into the target format.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes total sense. Okay, cool. I like how you organize this then. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, maybe we can structure this in a table with like some description and et cetera. But yeah, this insert comparison matrix will definitely help as well. Um, okay, cool. So yeah, today's the JSON schema, and we have model from Open API, which yeah supports polymorphism, which is really huge. I mean, this is something that I think we need. OO is a really big paradigm. Obviously for languages like Go, like we don't really have this concept. So, or Golang doesn't really have this concept. So it's not that big of a deal. But for all the other languages, basically every language that we are interested, will probably need some flavor of this. Then JSON type def, you did mention this one as well. So okay, so I think what we need to do now is kind of break out, if you want to work, maybe Andrea and David and me, we can split this list up and just kind of do a dive into each of the tools and kind of rate like the pros and cons, and maybe even show like a small demo of like how to generate something. Maybe at the next SIG could go a very long way. Would you guys be open? Or does your time allow you to do that? Should be the first question.
Not this week for me. I could bootstrap, create the Google page and create start the matrix and put some of the notes, but I will not have lot of time this week. I will be
Okay,
offline
okay.
part of the week.
Okay, it doesn't need to be this week, but I definitely think we probably want to start breaking out this list and figuring out who wants to take what. So yeah, I'm gonna copy this over to this page because this is under tools now. Let's see
Oh,
if
first, are you okay with the Google spreadsheet to create the matrix, or
oh yeah, I'm
you want
completely
something?
fine. Yeah, with
Okay.
Google spreadsheet. I think that'll be perfect. So okay, well, this did not do work properly. All right, let's see here. Let's see, get rid of this, and then do this. Oops. There we go. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna just take Pickle like right off the bat because, like I said, that's a team that we work really close with, anyways. So I can easily, just hack that out pretty quick. And I also can take Smithy because I was one of the very first not implementers, I guess users, yeah, users of Smithy. So I can definitely help with that as well. Is there any ones that you in particular want to take, David?
Um, I could take the JSON type def maybe,
Okay. All right.
and it's very small. Anyway, I will look at Smithy because I'm a bit curious.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um,
All right, yeah, you can take this one if you want it. Like I said, I just had an experience on it, so if it was
No,
easier for
I
you,
will just because just to have also an opinion, but
okay, yeah.
keeps me just by curiosity. But I guess Avro, Parquet, maybe Orc, we could remove it. It's not fairly used.
Which one?
Apache, Orc, ORC.
Oh, this one. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
And yes, Qlong, because I mentioned it, I will take.
All right. Cool. That sounds
We
good.
could start with that.
Yeah, we can start with this and then sync back up next week. And if we don't get around to it next week, then we just do it the following week. But what I will do is once you start that Google Doc as well, I'll start doing a comparison graph of what I know, a compatibility matrix of what I know tool-wise, and as just whatever notes that also need to be added. And then I'll also add some questions, and figure out what the best path. I think one of the big questions that we need to answer is how do we do this in an incremental way where it doesn't require us to be a massive breaking change every release, when we implement one SDK one at a time, right? Like say version 0.5 is Go and the version 0.6 is Rust, right? Like that will suck for user if it's like this staggering breaking change, if that is the case. So we need to think about that and what other issues that might arise from making this change. So that's something that I think we need to answer in the proposal. So I'll start outlining that as well, because I think that's going to be really important. And then, but yeah, I think overall this is really, really nice. So, so with that said, what familiarities of languages do you have, David? Just out of curiosity.
Programming languages or
Yeah, programming languages.
I made Java during 10 years, Scala during 8 years, and Rust during 3 or 5 years.
Okay, awesome. The reason why I ask, because I'm wondering, because like we need it to, work for all languages. So I'm just wondering, we don't want to come in with like this tunnel vision. So I was just kind of curious, like if we need to do a little bit of research on some languages as well. But it sounds like, I think you should be good though, especially with the Rust. Rust is like so low level. It should like pretty easily transfer over to the other languages. Oh, I mean, as long as you have some other, some basic experience with like OO, et cetera, et cetera. But I think Rust has OO. Is Rust an OO language? I'm not even 100% sure. Is
No,
it?
we have strict and enums.
Gotcha. I like that. I am actually not a fan of OO. Okay, I should really learn Rust. It sounds like I mean, just everything I've read about it seems really awesome. Okay, cool. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about, since we're on the tools section, I know for a fact that Open API can generate docs. I am pretty sure even probably this half, hell, it might even be most. I don't know if any of these other ones can generate docs. Pickle might, but it might require some really heavy work to get it to work. Do you know offhand, David, if any of these support also doc generation or like sample code generation at all?
Not sample code generation. Often I use property-based testing library, in fact, to generate samples often.
Okay.
For OpenAPI, yes, there are schemathesis and schematar that are two tools that are used for testing API that are able to, they use the example part or they can use some property-based testing to generate some samples.
Cool. Okay.
But not too much for AutoBuff, I guess. If I remember, we can. For Parquet, I guess no. Avro, no.
Okay, so it does seem like
Async API have it. I just take a quick look at Async API today.
gotcha.
They provide maybe what you are looking for. It means that they have one generic generator, I could say, and people provide templates
Ooh, I'm gonna look at this one.
to
This one sounds interesting. Okay.
to generate what they want.
Okay. Okay.
And async API like it's based on OpenAPI, so they have some common part with OpenAPI, but it's more focused on message queue, message broker, and this kind of API.
Oh, that's perfect for us then. Okay.
Maybe. So
Maybe. Yeah. Good point. Maybe. Right. Yeah.
but yes,
Um,
they provide stuff that could be interesting, and they generate documentation. I saw they provide a HTML and Markdown generator.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, that is definitely good to know. I'm really curious about this async API. But yeah, I'll definitely do some research on at least Pickle. It'll be Pickle probably this week and async API this week, and I'll take a look. And then we can do the comparison graph or matrix. We're going to create that in the Google Doc, and then we'll just like use that as like notes to like kind of work ad hoc. Like, is that your thinking, David?
Yes, my thinking is also using the Google Doc comments, so
Perfect.
every one of us will be able to comment on each cell, so it could.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. I really like that. Okay, cool. I think this gives us a path forward to at least start investigating all these potential tooling. Um, so let's go ahead and try to allocate some time at least in the next couple of weeks to do that. And then I'll do my best to also start the compatibility matrix. Yeah, so please whenever you get that doc done or opened or created, just send that in the Slack channel and I'll start working on it and
Okay.
kind of go from there. Cool. So that was pretty much it. Like I said, like the most of this was mostly going to be talking about, like the tooling that was going to be involved, the code generation, potential breaking changes is going to be the big one, and figure out what versions um of CD event, like we're doing 0.5 right now. Like what is the goal for this to be released at? Does it need to be all SDKs? Can it be one at a time, et cetera, et cetera? So we need to figure out that as well. But I think that's pretty much it. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about, David? Because it seems like you did a lot of work, and I'm really appreciative. Like you don't know how much I appreciate this. Like like those graphs, those flowcharts, you did an excellent job. I think it's really nice that you did that. But yeah, do you have anything else that you wanted to add?
No, at the top of the document, I list the the issue why we have to create some custom
Perfect.
generator, and I guess when I wrote it, maybe I forgot some points, but I guess we will still have to use uh, custom stuff. That's why in the graph I name it semi-custom, because for some typed string, I could say that time is well known in a lot of language, but package URL, it's not something very common. Idem for URL reference, it's fairly new also, so it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
well supported, and this. And yes, there is the polymorphism. The biggest one is the support of polymorphism that could become a very um, uh, a big breaking change, I guess, in the
Yes.
specification, because
Yes.
today, by example, we use the type field, the context dot type field, so to define the type of the subject, and
Hmm.
for tagged union, in reality, what is the most supported is to have a field inside the subject that say, I am the type, I am of the type.
Oh, right, right.
So it's some information. Maybe we'll have to move from context to subject, etc.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. I'm curious if that. Okay. All right. We'll have to think about that. First, I think I need to understand all the tools and see what their limitations and what their strengths and weaknesses are, before I can comment on the level of breaking changes to the schema. Hopefully, it shouldn't be any, is my hope, but that you never know. But we'll see. Um, but with that said, yeah, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna hop on this like immediately. So if there's nothing else, we can cut it short. And I want to start looking into. I want to really look into this async API because it sounds really interesting. Um, but yeah, did you have anything else, David? If not, we can cut it short.
Oh, no, we can. There are a lot of every of those schema family have a lot of documentation, except JSON type. JSON type, very straightforward and simple. 10 minutes.
Gotcha. I like straightforward and simple. So if it's good sell, we can definitely, if it satisfies all our check boxes, then it's someone we can definitely strive to use. So, all right, well, awesome. Well, thank you again, David. Excellent work. Like I said, next week, I'll have information next week about at least a few of the tools. I'll have some information on, and I'll update that Google Doc once you share it with me. All right.
Okay.
All right. Awesome, David. Great
Um,
working with you. Oh, is that Andre?
Yeah, I was going to say thanks a lot as well, David. Just one thing, this particular meeting is bi-weekly. Is that all
All
right?
right.
Then it will be in the next 2 weeks, or we
Yeah,
could
that
take the
should be fine.
conversation to next Monday if you wanted to. It's just this time for me works every other week. But if you wanted to meet next week as well, and we can set up an ad hoc meeting. Yeah, just
Yeah,
wanted to.
yeah. I think we're okay because David already said that he's kind of strapped. I mean, I'm already strapped for time, so 2 weeks is actually a better option. So I think that should be
Okay,
fine. And
perfect.
Andrea, if you want to take any of the tools on that list, please, feel free. The more people that we have looking at stuff, the better. Especially like, we all have our strengths in certain languages. So I think, the various eyes will definitely help. So, but yeah, cool.
Sure. Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it. Was there did you have anything else you wanted to add, Andrea?
No, not really. Just yeah, very interesting, and thanks for preparing this, David. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, we'll cut the meeting short then, and thanks everyone. And then I'll see you guys I'll see you in the next SIG meeting, and which is next week, and then the following week will be this meeting again, and we'll share our findings. So looking forward to that, and I'll talk to you guys later then. All right.
Okay.
All right. Bye
Yes.
everyone.
Bye.